All right, folks, we will open up for questions for student athletes. Patrick, do you want to start us?
Sure. Trey, obviously, it seemed like you guys were intent on taking advantage of the outside shot tonight. Didn't initially land. How did you guys kind of work through that to eventually get some looks that you could knock?
Just having trust in the guys and trusting our work and trusting what we do is going to come out and happen on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
The work that, for both of you guys, the work that Christian did, it seemed like he hit 3 threes, and it seemed like they all came at really pivotal times. What's kind of your take on what he's been able to do for you here over the last week or so?
Yeah, I say it really just starts in practice. He's an everyday guy. And before every game, I kind of just tell him, stay ready. Every game I tell him, stay ready. So to get that energy to come off the bench and produce like that is just a great thing for our team.
Hey, both of you tonight with 2 steals. Seems like recently the steal numbers have gone way up. What's been working for you guys defensively? And it's been like scheme, or has it just been being more active?
I'd say just a big emphasis in practice is just, being active, guarding your yard, and being a dog. And within our scout, it's just know your personnel. Know the best player on their team like the back of your hand.
Trey, 19 points for you tonight. What were you feeling when you had the ball in your hands?
It felt good, seeing the ball go through the basket, not hitting shots early in the season, finally getting back in the field. It was good to see that, just trying to keep it going.
And then Slim, for you, 4 games you've been kept out of double digits, but coming back to the Smith Center tonight, you get another double-double. How did it feel to return back to the Smith Center and perform like that?
It definitely felt great. Shout out our fans. They probably give me that energy to go out there and do that.
Yeah.
But coming off those 3 games, it kind of just hit a switch like something got to change, and within me and as a team, and we just came to that conclusion, and it worked today.
Sure. Trey, they were 5 of 30 from 3 tonight. How did you feel like you guys were able to handle them defensively?
Like I said, just know your personnel. We were trying to run them off the 3 line, make them beat us different ways. Make them do stuff they're uncomfortable doing. We knew they wanted to shoot 3s and be more comfortable on the perimeter, so we had to, get rid of that.
Abe, do you have it?
Yeah, come back to us. Scoot ahead for a second. Oh yeah. Sorry. The only thing that you nitpick that this game, offensive rebounds. I think they had 17 offensive rebounds compared to 7. What do you think was working for them on the offensive boards?
I'll say that.
I just say that's on us. We're gonna watch it over, go into practice. Not let that happen again going into the next games.
Right. 22 points off turnovers for you guys tonight. Was that something Coach Caputo was stressing, that this team can turn the ball over a lot and you have to make them pay, or was it just a product of what was happening?
Coach actually told us they're a team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So, but we emphasize deflections in practice, so we just try to get as much as we can. And I feel like we got a lot today, and it led to steals and different things in transition that was good for our team.
Anything else for student athletes? All good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Trey.
Thanks, Greg.
Joy. Is Lily coming in or no? You gotta get started. Lily, you want to sit right here? Here you go. Don't be quiet.
All right, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach and then questions.
Okay. First, I just want to make sure everybody knows we're extending our condolences to Jimmy Patsos on the loss of his wife. Just tragic, sad. Everybody loves Jimmy. I hope everybody wraps their arm around him like he does everybody else all the time. So it was good to have him here today, and it was probably therapeutic for him. I thought great win for us. I think Army's I think we played 2 of the very good Patriot League teams. We're going to play Lafayette on Wednesday, so we'll see what they're like. But Army's very, very good, very well coached. Kevin Kuick is a guy I got a lot of respect for, former Army person himself, and a great coach and a great guy. And I really liked their team. I thought, as I told our guys, I think they're very tough, right? They're in the Army. Thank God we have people like that. I really like the look of them during the national anthem. I looked over and I felt, these guys they're impressive, just the way they're standing there. Rucker, Curry, and Scovin's very, very difficult. I thought Alan Spatch, underrated player. I just really liked their team. So, I knew this, for us was going to be a challenge to defend well, but we did. And then we found some offense in the second half and obviously some shooting with the way they guard us. And the way a lot of people guard us, we're going to get some open threes. And, we're starting to be able to make them, which is great. And you start to make people play. But I was most happy with the defensive effort. The backboard, got to see why and all that. But that's probably the one area on the defensive end where we've struggled. But every other area, and we stole the ball from a team that never turns it over, stole it from them 10 times, and so that's a good number for us. So I'll take questions.
Chris, what do you think kind of helped bust that thing open there in the second half?
Well, I think the three-point shooting, I mean, just, the way people play Darren and put a lot of people on him makes it very difficult. We got to continue to work through that. But I definitely think we're going to get some shooting from different guys. It's not just always the same guy. I think, it's one of those things where is anybody great there? No, but you start looking across and saying like, wow, but each of them can make one or two in a game. Obviously tonight Trey Moss makes 4. So Gerald's probably the one that's been most consistent in his career. So we're going to have to make enough of those, with the way people play Darren.
And just to talk about that, you had 3 attempts in the first half, only had 1 attempt from 2 in the first half. Seemed a little bit timid with some smaller defenders around him. Do you think that was that?
Yeah, it could be a little bit of that. That's a good point, Abe. I could be a little bit of like, the matchups are this year are a little bit different than last year when you can go quickly to small ball 5 and make it a lot easier for him with big guys because he's such a good ball handler. But pretty much anytime he's being guarded, it's by multiple people, right? And if he's and it's probably on me and the staff we did a little bit in the second half, but just to find ways to put him in other places on the court. Just in the first 10 games is so effective at the top of the key, in space where he can create shots for himself and others. But yeah, we've got work to do, just like most teams do. Here we are in mid-December. There's work to be done about how to unlock some things with him.
Plus 20 for Christian Jones tonight, coming off a career day against Old Dominion last weekend. Can you just talk about, what you've seen from him over the last week or two, really coming in?
Yeah, I think it's what we've seen all summer and then the fall. The guy is going to be a very, very good player in this league. He's so long. He's really worked, that redshirt year really worked on his shooting, and he's gotten much better shooting the ball. He's got some natural stuff that you can't really teach. And I think as we, move the program forward, here's a guy who's gonna, be a really, really good player. And again, we've done it a little bit differently. There's so many more younger guys here than there are 5th and 6th year. We have a couple of those guys, but we don't have a ton of 6th-year guys and 5th-year guys or what have you. So some of the best players in this program are underclassmen.
Chris, with their offensive rebound, do you think some of it might have just been that they're spreading out a fair
Well,
bit?
it's our. Again, I don't want to give away too many secrets, but like, it's the way we play. Like, so we put 2 on the ball. We attack penetration, whether it be from the baseline or from the slots. We're in rotations a lot. We're switching a lot. Now we're also a team that's, I think, top 25 in the country in turning in stealing the ball. We're top whatever we are in turning people over. So we're getting a return there. What happens when you're not a pack line team and you're like just always in blockout position is you're going to be in a lot of rotational blockouts. You're going to be in blockouts with smaller guys on a bigger guy. And so it's the give and take. And so how do you mitigate that is really the question, right? Like, you're never going to really totally knock it out. But if you're turning people over at the rate we are, then you can at least live with some of it because those are pick six, Rafael Castro dunks in the open court where there's no defense. But we talked about it yesterday, and we got to spend some time on it. We got to spend some time on some of these, what I would say, disadvantaged blockout situations.
19 points for Trey Moss tonight. What did you see coming off the last week's game and this week of practice? Aggressive.
I thought he came out aggressive. I talked to him about that. He's trying to find his way in a new style. The guy's played for 3 different coaches and, in 3 years or whatever. So it's like, trying to find it. It's trying to find his way with this group of guys and this staff and the things that we want from him. We saw a lot of the play that you saw today in the summer. So we're glad to get it out of him today and hopefully continue.
Christian banked in that 3 right before half, and then you called timeout with 1.8 seconds. I'm just curious, like, what's the thought process?
I just didn't want them to throw it up the floor and dunk it like they did the play before that, you know. And again, Darren gambled a little bit. I'm hoping that these guys, when they get older, like that they're here, and like when they're juniors and seniors and 50 or senior and all that stuff, it's like they're like, oh, remember when I gambled on that play when we did that 3 years ago? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. Like in my, so he's. We joked that Darren's really, you know, the line like it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. He's like mastered that. You know, he's the first guy to come over and be like, no, that was my fault. It's like, yeah, we know, you know, but it was just not to let them get it in very quickly, like they did the play before where we dunked it and they threw it right. In fact, my coaches said we stole it and dunked it or whatever we did. They had 3 guys they didn't even cross half court. They just stood there. So they just took it out and threw it. And it's a good way of playing. In fact, we probably should have done that when the guy from American made the shot. We should have just, and I wanted to talk to him about this next week, is like, everyone's celebrating, you should just take the ball out, step out of bounds, and throw it the length of the court. And usually there's somebody doing what they did to us tonight. That's why I called the timeout.
Good.
You guys limited the 3 from Army tonight. Was that something that your team worked on throughout the week?
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about Curry, Rucker, Scovins, like that. The 2 guys had to have bad nights. We have to really do a good job. And I think the way we put 2 guys on the ball and how we commit to the ball, it's harder for them to come off and just drill threes off pick and rolls, even guard to guard. I thought early in the second half when they cut our lead, it was because our switching was a little bit too passive and not switching up. And we're not as worried about them getting behind, getting inside the defense as we were like just being passive and flat. Those guys have deep range and they're good shooters. So.
Any other questions for Coach?
We're good.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.